How you guys doing? My name is Steven Rosenberg and this is Ginzburg. Welcome to Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes. Today we're going to be talking about applying to be a keynote speaker at a summit across the country. So this is something that Gene and I have been doing, and we've applied to a really big summit more recently. We haven't heard back from them yet, which is fine. But what we want to talk about today is a couple different things. One is about the topics that we want to be the keynote speakers on and why those topics are very important. Two, why you should really be resilient and not really put all your eggs in one basket. So Gene and I have already discussed, if we don't get to be the keynotes on this specific one, we're still going to go try to be keynotes at other ones because we think our message is important enough. And also just to answer any questions that people might have about that. How do you apply? How do you seek out? How do you hack the internet to figure out where these different talks are going on? So whether you're trying to be a keynote speaker or whether you're trying to actually go be a participant in the show. So the specific one we did was why don't you tell them about it, Gene? Because you've been there.
Sure. Yeah, the specific one that we applied for was the Digital Summit in Phoenix, and we're actually going to apply to a bunch of the digital summits. There's, I think, about 10 or 12 of them now.
Yep.
Like LA, Portland, Seattle, I think North Carolina, maybe Dallas. Denver is definitely one that I've been to many times. So yeah, I think I can speak a little bit to the way our process was, and so that our audiences can have a better understanding of what it would be like to apply to be a speaker at one of these summits and what we went through to do that. So I think the first thing that you want to do is you probably want to just attend the summit first before you even before you apply to be a speaker. You probably want to check out the summit. So I've been to the Denver Digital Summit 3 times already, so I have a pretty good understanding of what the content looks like, who the audiences are, and just in general what the summit looks like and what the format looks like and how long each speaking engagement is. Usually they're about 30 minutes of speaking and then 15 minutes of questions, so about 45 minutes total. So yeah, first you want to kind of get a feel for what each summit is, or each conference is, and then apply for it. I'd say maybe at least after you've attended it once. And then in terms of topics, so the main thing to keep in mind is not to be salesy, because we've gone to all these conferences before. I'm sure all of us have, where everybody's been really salesy, and that's, as we all know, that's not very engaging or helpful content. Yep. So make sure that your content is actually helpful to people, and pick a topic that you're an expert in. That's what we did. We basically picked topics that we're experts in. So I'm talking about Facebook and Steven is talking about Snapchat. And then we created a short video, which would basically be like acting as an intro for our speech and for our presentation. So it was about 5, maybe I think it was like 7 minutes long or something like that. And we basically went through what an intro would look like and so we just did like a brief overview. So we're going to talk about these topics. This is why it's important. This is what our audiences will learn. So this would basically kind of is the format that we used to create our videos, and then we submitted our videos and our bios to the summit.
There was a written portion, there was a video portion.
Yeah, so that's, I think, a good starting point for you to get into the speaking, speaking if you want to do that. Couple things to keep in mind. One is, you might not get accepted on the first one, so don't get discouraged by it. I think just keep applying. 2 is you can also be a panelist. Now, being a panelist is much easier than, I think, being a speaker at an event. So panelists, and for audiences who have maybe not seen a panel, but basically a panel has a moderator and then maybe 3 or 4 people that sit on the panel, and the moderator asks a question, and then each panelist, or maybe a couple of the panelists, will describe their experience, or like define the question or answer the question in their own experience in their industry. So pretty easy to do that. Maybe that's a good way to get started. And then in terms of how to find all these conferences, honestly, the way I did it and the way I think I would recommend doing it is based on your industry. So, like, of course, our industry is digital marketing. So I just went and found like a list or several lists of like 75, 100 digital marketing conferences in the United States, or even maybe even abroad. I don't know if you want to do that.
Right.
So, and then typically if you go to their website for each of the conferences, there is a section for speakers. So typically there is a place for you to submit your application if you're interested in being a speaker. So there's not really like a fantastic way of doing it. It's kind of a manual process. You just have to go to the conference that interests you. Yeah. And then submit your application. Usually I would highly recommend doing a video, because I think it allows the people who are reviewing your application to actually see you and have a better understanding of what you would look like when you're actually on stage. Yep.
Yeah. And I think it's exciting because, I think we made it pretty clear to each other, at least behind the scenes, that one of our biggest goals of 2017 is to be a keynote somewhere, whether it's this summit or a totally different summit. But it's all about the journey and the process, at least to me personally. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens over the next 2 years as we continue to climb over this digital marketing landscape, and how quickly things are changing, all the different platforms that are coming out, and always trying to stay ahead of the curve and really get to be known and get to build a group or an audience of people that really get a lot of value from your content. That's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
Is to go and speak and then get feedback and see what they didn't like, so that we can go back and perfect it. And then the next summit we do is 10 times better, and then the one after that is even better. And I'm really excited about it, from the journey aspect and from being able to pace yourself and not, again, putting all your eggs in one basket if we don't get in, and just, let's just give up. That's not how we look at things. So
definitely,
if you guys have any questions or recommendations for any good summits coming up in 2017 or 2018, we'd love to see those in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe so that you can continue to be successful in digital marketing with us. And as always, have a green day.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for watching. We hope you'll continue to get involved and join us as we help you find success in your entrepreneurial journey. Please follow, like, and share with others who will find this beneficial. We'll see you on the next episode of Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes with Stephen and Jean.